All right, guys, so here we have the all-new 2024 Tesla Cybertruck. This one comes in the Foundation Series, so first one to come out. 2 electric motors, 1 on each axle, 600 horsepower. We get the beautiful stainless steel exterior, which is somewhat bulletproof, and then the black leather interior. So a big thank you to Auto Collection of Murfreesboro and Auto Pro Nashville for allowing me to review this Cybertruck today. I'll leave a link below in the description because I think they still have 2 of these. But just seeing this in person, it legit looks like, what's that thing called? It's not a transformer, but Iron Man, that's what it looks like. It has an Iron Man front fascia, which is very, very interesting. But I actually like it a lot more in person than, you know, the pictures and videos I've seen. The LED headlamps are down there, daytime running light bar there. Over here are the wheels. We get these massive tires, 20-inch wheels there. And the more that I play with this thing, the more I love it. But as we come over here to the driver door panel, power window controls, there's the manual latch to open the door, and then the power latch there, just click that button. Interesting door panel here. You could probably put change or something there and then bottles, but it's not like a typical truck door panel that has tons and tons of pockets for maps and stuff. So that's an interesting choice in terms of the design. But there's the power driver's seat. There are the controls there, power seat back, seat bottom, and lumbar. And I like the choice of the pedals as well. And I love the storage area. Tons of space there. But a little bit of extra info if you're interested. Now I have the driver's seat here adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. But if you're looking to find a Cybertruck in your area and you want to make sure you get the best possible price, make sure you check on that link down below, click it. It takes about a minute or 2 to fill out that information, and then we can get you the best price on one of these locally. And then Auto Collection and Auto Pro also ship as well, so, or help you ship, let me put it that way. So you can also click on the link down below for their trucks and get them close to you. But seat back pockets are on both sides, excuse me. And then down here we have the rear entertainment system. So whether you want to use music, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Twitch, you can fool the heated seats back here as well. And then fan direction. And all of that can be toggled there. And then fan speed can be adjusted right here. So very interesting setup. It's very simple, but there's a lot in here, I think. Now the vents are integrated all around here. And there's a view of the front from back here. Love the fixed glass roof here. That looks beautiful. And then if you ever want to get to the folding seat, click that, or pull that, excuse me. And then you can use this as a bottle holder. And your top tethers are integrated in there as well. And then your lower latch anchors are right in there. Love the headliner too. And then this is one of my favorite parts about the back seat, is how that just folds down. It's simple, but it's neat. Folds down, you can hang your shirt, pair of pants there if you want to. But as we make it towards the back, I'm gonna check out one of the more interesting design features here. Let me put it that way. Not necessarily controversial, but controversial. So we do have the power release for the tailgate there. Storage is underneath here. Pretty good space, honestly. And then the LED lights, I love how they integrated those in the back there so you can see at night if you ever need to. And then we do have 240 outlets and then 2 120 volt outlets right in there. And then of course with our power tonneau cover, we can retract and then pull it back, and it folds just right in behind the rear window there, which I find very, very intriguing. Now, since I haven't really kept up with these a lot, one thing that I did find interesting was the 4-wheel steering here. As you can see, I have it turned all the way to the left, and I'm just gonna take a glance back here. With this being as hefty as it is, it just feels longer. It's impressive how easy it is to drive with the four-wheel steering. Now, it does take getting used to, but I really have grown to love it. Kind of like in the Hummer EVs with the crab walk, this just takes it to that level in terms of maneuverability. Now we get the same adjustability for the front passenger side as we got for the driver's side. And we're gonna go ahead and hop in the driver's seat here momentarily. But there's a quick look at that. And then I'm gonna show you how we open the front here from the infotainment system. Then I'm gonna set the steering wheel back straight and I'll show you what the horn sounds like. But over here, open the front there, kind of gives you an animation to go with it. I'm gonna show that right now. So there it is there. And not the biggest space, but not bad. And you can close it from inside or hit that button right there. But this really does look like an Iron Man truck, and I just find that fascinating. So I love that we get the LED headlamps, the LED daytime running light bar, and even the graphics here are fantastic. Now for the audio, we do have Bluetooth, and then if you want to delve into that a bit more, it's kind of overwhelming here, but we can go to radio and we can go between the FM stations, whether they're in HD or just standard quality there. And then just a quick look at everything else is here. Theater, arcade, you know, what you're used to in a Tesla. I do like that we get the Apple Music app here. That is very, very smart to do that. If you're not gonna have your CarPlay, Android Auto, at least make it a little bit easier. Now the navigation system's here. We do get 3-stage heated cool front seats as well as a heated steering wheel. We can set that to auto as well. But all these addresses here, we can set up a work address, we can set up a home address and all of that. And then we can see the traffic patterns are there. Now over here to the actual controls, and I'm sorry about the glare because it's so much light coming in here, it's cloudy, you can kind of see my reflection almost as much as you can see the screen, but we can adjust the tonneau cover, the ride height, the steering wheel, all of that there, the headlamps, and then we do have the dynamics here. So if you want to change your drive mode from comfort to sport, you can. You also have an off-road setting. Not really going to be able to use that to its full effect here, but definitely going to keep it in sport. And then we can go ahead and fool with the auto shift and whatnot there. So just a quick rundown of all of that. I'm going to open the charge port for later. Have my foot on the brake, so there's that there. Now this one does have the full self-driving once the software release comes out for that. But not really gonna get too deep into this because there is so much that you can fool with here. But upgrades and Bluetooth are right in there. Like this, kind of like in the older Teslas, the Model 3s, the Model S's, when you're able to actually have this graphic on the screen. It's really nice to have. It's very interesting. Now, for the shifter, and you've probably seen this online already, you have the option to scroll through it here. And then you can do all that there, or come up here. And I like using this better, especially when I'm trying to put it in a neutral, because it's just easy to hit that button. And it's all soft touch there. And then that's where your hazards are. Now, speaking of which, let's show the backup camera. Curbside view, backup camera, good graphics. I love having the guidelines follow you. Those are very intuitive as well. And then for your climate controls, you can go ahead and fool with that here. Again, that's where your heated cooled seats are. You have the windshield de-icer as well. Tons of other features. And then you can also adjust that passenger side there as well when applicable. And then there's your rear climate, dog mode, camp, and all of that. So I like to kind of dive into this a little bit just because this is what most of your stuff is going to be done through, because it's Tesla, you know. Now down here, I believe these are the wireless charging pads, and then you do have the actual card keys for this, and of course you can set it up with the app once you get yours. Bottle holders are here. The center console cubby space is there, and this one seems to already have a converter, which is nice if you want to use a different charging station. But this is just a wild experience. And for that front vanity mirror, it's quite a lot you have to do there. And there's a look at the back seat from up here. But back to the steering wheel itself, blinkers, and then as you hit the blinkers, you get those side views, and then turn on your lights there, and then you can hold to turn on those high beams if you want. Turn that off. And then over here, windshield wipers, voice recognition, and then cruise control when applicable. So we'll test it out driving it with the autopilot. But with all that being said, I mean, yeah, this is very, very interesting. But now to the fun part. Let's go ahead and take this 2024 Tesla Cybertruck out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Cybertruck here, very, very weird. That's probably the best way to describe it. I mean, this thing drives like nothing I've ever driven before. It feels like nothing I've ever driven before, and I've owned a Tesla before. Even with this feeling like a Tesla, again, it feels like nothing else that I've been behind the wheel of, and I've been behind the wheel of just hundreds of cars, maybe even 1,000 or so. So this is just, it's wild. Now, one thing I will say is the visibility kind of throws me for a loop, because it feels like the truck's wider than it is, mostly because you can basically see from pillar to pillar. Not a lot of, room for gaps, whatever, in terms of the windshield, because the windshield does help with the visibility, but then again, just with this A-pillar here, with how weird it is, it also just it doesn't feel right. Like there's a tiny window down here on either side, and I'm just like, okay, but I kind of like it. Now this thing does turn heads. I've been driving it for about a mile, and just driving around the parking lot, people are turning their heads. Just it looks so crazy. It really does. So you can take that for what it is, whether you think that's good or bad. Now the way the steering wheel feels is probably the craziest thing, because you can't even turn this thing all the way in one direction. Even with the four-wheel steering, it's very maneuverable, but it's also, the wheel does not do a lot of work. So I could turn it one way and it'll probably stop halfway between trying to turn it all the way. And that's one of the strangest things about this, other than the four-wheel steering. But I've driven a few of the Hummer EVs, so I've kind of gotten used to that. But this here is just something that's totally different, because I feel like this feels shorter in terms of height, but longer in terms of the overall length of the vehicle, as opposed to the Hummer EV. Now this truck in particular was rated to get 305 miles on a charge, just according to the screen here. I don't know the actual EPA estimates and all of that, but I mean, that's still pretty good, I think, for something of this nature. I would just expect a little bit more from Tesla. Now after the Foundation Series, or maybe if you get the one that has the 3 motors or whatever, you'll get a bit more. But again, I haven't really studied the Cybertruck that much. since they basically changed everything that they were going to be doing. Because I had a reservation about, what, 3-4 years ago when it first came out, and then I just canceled it because I didn't see it happening anytime soon. It might have been longer than that now that I think about it, because I think I still have my other Tesla. But anyways, it's still an impressive range for something like this that's as capable as it is, and it's not even necessarily the full version, you know, with the most power and all that. So we'll just see what the future holds for Tesla, and it may have something to do with having the single motor set up that'll get you the best range or something like that. But as of now, still pretty good in my opinion. Now with the turning radius, it does make this thing feel much more agile than you would expect. And it is very quick. So we'll definitely give it a pull here in a moment. I guess we'll test out the autopilot first. So it's keeping that safe distance between myself and the vehicle in front of me. It's kind of hard to really test out the full system here. We'll give it a pull real quick. Yeah, this thing's quick. It's real quick. Very impressed. And again, just with me not knowing this car in terms of the cruise control, just how to use the autopilot to its full capability, I'm really only using the adaptive cruise now because I'm used to having the stalk here, and I can hit the stalk, and then that's how you get it to go into autopilot and all that. But I can't even read this freaking steering wheel. I have no idea what's going on, but you know what? That's okay. But very, very good performing truck, as we would expect with it being an electric truck and it being a Tesla. Now, like with most EVs, these are pretty high compared to what they sticker for, just because there aren't a lot out yet. It's hard to make them. It's the first of its kind, so everybody wants to kind of have it while it's still cool. But from a practicality standpoint, if this holds up like other Teslas should, or like other Teslas do, going 400, maybe even 500,000 to 1 million miles, getting that out of a pickup truck is almost like getting an electric Tundra, like, you know, the older ones, where people were putting 1 million miles on them. They had to change out the timing chains and all that. But with these, you don't even have to do that much. The biggest thing is the battery, and again, we've seen some Teslas go crazy amounts of miles on the original batteries. Certainly the motors will hold up as they should. But I mean, right now it's just nice to have something that's this cool to look at, this much fun to drive, and this capable. Now, one other thing I want to touch on is the ride on this. This rides a lot better than I was expecting. It doesn't ride rough. It still kind of has that bouncy feel, just with the center of gravity and all of that. What you would expect from EVs, in particular Teslas, they tend to be a bit bouncy, but ride is still very comfortable. I love that we get the heated and cooled seats here, because especially with this vegan leather, and then having all the ways that the light can get through here, whether it's through the glass roof, the windshield, or the side windows, you don't want it to be too hot in here, and I'm just glad we're able to cool the seats. But I mean, overall, I think a very, again, practical pickup truck that doesn't necessarily look practical. It looks out of this world. It looks exotic. And just having something that can give you the best of both worlds it's just nice. It's really nice. Now, a lot of people are trying to flip these now, which is kind of a problem, but I feel like if you actually want to keep this, if you didn't pay too much for it to begin with, a really good way to have something that will turn heads for years to come because there's nothing close to looking like freaking Iron Man other than this Cybertruck. But I mean, it's just a really, really fun, cool pickup that can still get what you need done if you're coming out of, let's say, maybe a Silverado or a Sierra, especially if you're coming out of a small truck like a Colorado or a Ford Ranger or something like that. But it does take some getting used to, especially if you're not used to driving EVs, especially if you're not used to being behind the wheel of a Tesla. This is gonna feel wild to you, I guarantee it, because it felt wild to me. And I've been in all of them. But after driving this thing around, a lot less cumbersome than I was expecting. It feels good driving it. It's still a big boy, and it shows that off just when you look through the side mirrors, when you look out the windshield, you're just like, man, this truck is massive. But it doesn't drive that way, which is a big plus for people that are maybe coming from a Model 3 or a Model S, even a Model X, and they just want to have a Cybertruck. Not going to be a huge deal for you. Just get used to backing in your pickup because these are a lot harder to pull into a parking spot. So I want to give one more thank you to Auto Collection of Murfreesboro and Auto Pro of Nashville for allowing me to review this Cybertruck today. And then if you're looking to find the best deal on one of these in your area, click on that link down below, fill out the info. It takes a minute or two. But this thing is just, it's an awesome truck. That's all I can say. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2024 Tesla Cybertruck Foundation Series.